Hello everyone, the next presentation is made by Hugo Barona, Cloud Architect from Ergo, and the topic of the presentation is getting started with cloud native development using Dapr. The floor is yours, Hugo. Please go on.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here, and also thank you so much for the organizer for this opportunity and these invites. I hope you enjoy my session. As mentioned before, this session is all about getting started using Dapr and do your cloud native development. So a bit of introduction of myself. So I'm an independent contractor currently based in Ireland. Almost all my experience based on Microsoft's stack and also software developments, and also, of course, while using Microsoft stack, also leveraging the open source related technologies. I'm also certified in several areas in Azure, including the Azure Solutions Architect and the Developer Administrator. I'm also a certified trainer and Azure MVP. So that's pretty much just the simple introduction of myself. So let's get started with our presentation. And as you know, nowadays more and more developers are asked to create microservice-based architectures and applications so they can break and move out from those big monolithic architectures into something more distributed microservice-based architectures composed of small pieces, all connected and performing specific tasks and responsibilities, thus enabling them to implement flexible, efficient, and of course resilient and scalable applications. And most important, enabling them to focus on building those applications and abstracting them from the infrastructure hosting those applications. And as you may know, as developers, we always like to have some freedom to pick the language or even the framework that fits our needs. Some of us may prefer to keep using the same language. Others may prefer to use different language depending on the requirements and the scope of the application that we are implementing, of course. So, but sometimes, depending on the requirements we have for our applications, there are some challenge we may face while considering microservice development, including limited tools and runtimes to build our applications, also limited language support, or runtimes that target specific infrastructure platforms with limited portability. So what is Dapr? So the distributed application runtime, also known as Dapr, is pretty much an event-driven portable runtime that enables you to easily build resilient and scalable distributed applications as microservice on cloud and edge, and overcome common challenges while implementing distributed applications, such as recovering states after failures, managing secrets, and discovering and calling securely other microservices. Using Dapr, you can easily build microservice applications using any language you want, any framework, and run them anywhere. So one important detail is that Dapr is an open source project, so it is open for the contributions of all of us. So in case you want to follow the latest updates and contribute to this project, follow the link to the official GitHub repository so you can have a look. Now, in terms of goals, so there are many goals and advantages that Dapr is focused on. I will just share some of them with you. And of course, we start by talking about the best practice followed to provide the building blocks to enable us to easily build and run our applications using Dapr. Also, it is designed, of course, to support any language or framework of your choice. And it also provides us a consistent, portable set of open APIs that enable our applications to interact with Dapr. Also, Dapr is adopting standards to ensure consistency across all features and functionality that it provides to us. This is really an important goal when it comes to, as you know, once you are using standards and you have consistent applications, reusability becomes much easier for you to reuse code across applications. And we can leverage the extensive set of extensible and pluggable components to easily build additional functionality in your applications. I will show you a few examples during this presentation, and also in the demo, you will see how you can easily start to use those components available and also create your own components in case you need that. And another important feature is, of course, the fact that it's a platform agnostic. So that means you can run Dapr and your applications in the cloud and edge, or even on premise if you need. And also, the last but not least, it's a community-driven project, vendor neutral. So it means each of us can contribute to this part to make it a better and greater project, of course. So talking about building blocks, right? A building block is pretty much an API accessible using HTTP protocol or gRPC framework that is composed by one or more Dapr components. And the main goal is to provide capabilities to your applications. At the moment, Dapr provides you several building blocks, including a block to enable you to perform secure service-to-service communications. Also, you have building blocks for state management to enable you to implement stateless or stateful applications, blocks to implement pub/sub or publish and subscribe applications. Also, you have building blocks to use the actors pattern in case you need to use that pattern in your application. Also, building blocks for provide observability of your microservice and more. And in case you realize that you have a specific needs, that none of those blocks available help meet your needs, then you can always build your own building block and use it. And of course, you can always then commit and merge it to the official Dapr GitHub repo, so other community members can use your own components and building blocks. So as I mentioned previously, a building block is a set of one or more components, providing a specific capability for your application. So a component, it's pretty much a modular piece of functionality, providing an interface definition, and due to its pluggable nature, you can easily replace components in the building blocks and in your applications. So you will see during the demo how easy it is for you to create a component with the same interface and then replace it with an existing component being used by your application. And most importantly, without any code changes required, okay? So Dapr provides you an extensive set of components out of the box, including state store components that represent data stores, including database, files, and memory to pretty much store your application's data, right? Also, you have components for service discovery to enable the service-to-service discovery and simplify communications between the microservice. And in case you need to build custom logic into the request processing pipeline, you can leverage the middleware components available, so you can perform actions such as authentication, encryption, or even message transformation before the request is routed to your application, or also before the response is returned to the user, okay? Also, you have several components available to help you build your applications using the pub/sub pattern. So these components will manage the delivery and reception of all message created by your service. We will see during the demo more details about this anyway. And the big advantage of using Dapr is the fact that it provides bindings for several external resources, including Azure Storage, Cosmos DB, Event Grid and Event Hub, Service Bus, SignalR, and much more. Pretty much all these bindings enables you to improve productivity, accelerate developments by enabling you to easily connect your application with this external resource without requiring you to invest time on developing these implementations. A service, if you are familiar with Azure, a service that uses similar approach is the Azure Functions, where, as you know, if you create a function app, then you can start to create your functions, put your code running, and anytime you need your code to interact with external resource, including Azure Storage, as an example, you don't need to care, you don't need to worry about the integration, because actually you have the triggers, you have the bindings that enables you to quickly integrate your code with the Azure Storage to perform operations such as creating files, updating files, and more. And of course, to ensure you are building and using secure applications, any private information, including connection strings and keys, you need to store them in the secret stores. And again, instead of storing them in your application's configuration, of course, or storing them in your codes, hard-coded configs, so you can leverage, again, the components to manage secret stores and manage your private information and secrets in those stores, and secure, of course, your confidential information. So in terms of Dapr service, Dapr uses a set of services to support the runtime and the provided features. Of course, we start with the Dapr sidecar service. So Dapr uses a sidecar pattern, meaning that the Dapr APIs are run and exposed on a separate process, in this case, the sidecar process. And this process runs alongside your application, providing additional functionality to your application. So sidecars are supporting a process or service that are deployed with your application, providing an easy way to leverage Dapr features and components to improve your application's functionality. Also, in scenarios that you are running Dapr in Kubernetes modes, you'll have a pod running the Dapr operator service, and this service will manage updates to Dapr components and also provides Kubernetes service endpoints for Dapr. So in scenarios that you are using the actor pattern with your applications, Dapr use the placement service to calculate and distribute the distributed hash tables for the location of Dapr actors. So this hash table maps the actor IDs to pods or process, so your application can communicate with the different actors using these hash tables. So anytime your application activates a Dapr actor, the placement updates the hash tables with the latest actor locations, of course. And of course, if your applications are running on Dapr, and of course, you need to secure your application. So the Dapr Sentry service manage mutual TLS, also known as MTLS, between service and acts as a certificate authority. So it generates MTLS certificates and distributes them to any running sidecars. So this allows sidecars to communicate with encrypted MTLS traffic. In case you're not familiar, mutual TLS applies a two-way authentication when establishing the communication between client and server. So that means the client authenticates to the server and the server authenticates to the client as well, okay? And of course, when you're running Dapr in Kubernetes modes, a pod is created running the Dapr sidecar injector service, which looks for pods initialized with Dapr annotations, and then creates another container in that pod for the sidecar service. So now I just want to provide you a few examples on how to use the building blocks that Dapr provides to us. So we have this example of a service invocation where I have my app running and preparing to call service A. So it starts by executing a post request to service A and method new order, sending a JSON payload in the body containing the message hello world. This post request is using the service invocation API available in Dapr. So by doing this, our app puts the burden of service discovery on the Dapr runtime. So API will use the multicast DNS component for service discovery, so it can get the address of the service A. Then, of course, a mutual TLS authentication is performed to ensure a secured connection between the APIs of the Dapr instance, running as sidecars, of course, and associated to the app and the service. After the successful established authentication, the request is forwarded to the service A's API. Then the API pretty much forwards the request to the service so it can process the new order. And of course, once the request is processed, the response is returned all the way back until reach our app. So besides going into detail of each step in this diagram, most of these tasks are actually abstracted from the applications and developers. So Dapr manage the service discovery and establishing the secure communications for you. Now we have an example of a state management call, and in this case, our app wants to persist some data into the data store. In this case, it's using Redis cache. So it makes a request to the state API by providing the name of the DB. In this case, it's the corp DB, and providing a body with all key value pairs that we want to persist into the data store. And then Dapr instance gets the requests and performs the operation to store the key value pair into the Redis cache instance being used. And now we have an example like the demo that I will show you today using the publish and subscribe building block. So all the publishing and subscribing is using Redis cache in this scenario. And so again, our app makes a post request to the publish endpoint, providing the name of the pub sub component. In this scenario, it is orders, and the name of the topic, in this case, processed. And it contains, again, a low road message in the body. The request is processed by the Dapr API, which then executes the operation to send the message to the topic configured in Redis cache. And then, of course, Redis cache notifies the Dapr API subscribing to that given topic. Those APIs then call the service A and B, providing the details of the message. So during the demo, I will show you more details on how this scenario can be configured and done. Okay. So given that, it's actually time for the demo, because pretty much most of this presentation is focused on the demo. So I want to really go in detail explaining how you can start using Dapr and how easy it can be for you to start creating your applications using Dapr. So far, I just want to double check. Do we have any questions? Ark, do you have any questions so far?
No, so far not. So please go on.
Okay, great. All right, so let me just share my screen here or no. Just want to let me just pull here the browser. Okay, so first starting point, of course, is the dapr.io website. Here you can find all the information. Also, you have this documentation about how to get started, pretty much explaining you. I'm going to just zoom in so you can see it clearly. So pretty much explaining you all the steps you need in order to configure Dapr locally or in any environment that you are trying to run Dapr and create your applications. Of course, pretty much to just provide you an high level of the steps. You just install the Dapr CLI. You have a CLI available, so you can run commands to interact with Dapr runtime and create your applications. Then you definitely need to initialize Dapr, and then you can, as a matter of test, you can use the Dapr API, make a few sample requests to just ensure everything is configured correctly. And then you pretty much configure a component or use the available components, and also you can export the Dapr quick starts. To to share with you, definitely the demo of today is one of the Dapr quick starts available. So everything I'm going to show you, you can reproduce by yourself, because ultimately the key point of this presentation is not about me creating an application and show you that I created an application. It's all about enabling you to use Dapr. So I'll be focused on one of the quick starts just to show you how simple it is for you to getting started on using Dapr. Okay. So once you finalize all this configuration, just a quick note. In my case, I'm using Docker Desktop to pretty much have my virtual environment ready to just use Dapr. Okay, and in this case, of course, if you want to activate the Kubernetes modes, you can also use Kubernetes locally as well. Okay, so given that, let me just share with you another detail here. One sec, please. I'm just pulling the link. All right, so in terms of the quick starts, you have the links here available from the site, but pretty much you have a GitHub repository where you can access, and you have all the different quick starts available, okay, here. The one that we are going to focus on is the pub/sub quick start to just show an example of an application using the publish-subscribe model, okay, or pattern. And let me just show you the diagram of the demo that we are going to use today. So the demo of today, pretty much what we have here is we have a React form app that provides a web interface for you to send message. Okay, of course, this React app is using Dapr API to interact with the runtime and make operations to pretty much publish message to Redis. Okay, and then Redis is managing the publish subscribe, so the subscriptions there for topics, and then Redis is responsible, the component is responsible to send those message to the subscribers. On the subscriber side, we have pretty much a Node subscriber running in Dapr as well, and we have a Python subscriber. Okay, so this is a really simplified example that I'm going to show you, and then the idea will be I'm going to run now this application. And then what we are going to do is we are going to replace this component here, just to show you how simple it is for you to replace components without changing code. Sorry, I'm going to replace these components using Redis, and I'm going to use a service called Service Bus. Okay, so if you are not familiar, Azure Service Bus is pretty much an enterprise messaging service that enables you to send message and process message with other applications that are waiting for message. Okay, so let me just show you now the codes. So quickly, in terms of the code, what we have, once you go to GitHub and you clone the repository, one of the folders you have there, it's the pub/sub for the quick start. And then what we have here is we have, as I mentioned, the React, right, which contains the server doing all the logic in terms of posting message, okay? And then we have one Node subscriber, which pretty much contains an Express API. And in here, as you can see, you have the Dapr subscribe endpoint which returns a payload with all the subscriptions of this subscriber, of this application. So in this demo, we have 3 topics. We have the topic A, B, and C. Okay, and pretty much what we have here is the subscribers are responsible to just decide which topics they want to subscribe, and then when we use the React to send the message, we pick the topic, and then based on the topic that we pick, the subscribers receive the message. So pretty much this endpoint returns the subscriptions, and then you have 2 post endpoints, one for topic A. I'm just going to zoom in a bit more. one for topic A and one for topic B. So that means once I send on the React, once I send a message to the topic A, the runtime, the Dapr runtime will send a request to these methods and invoke these methods to process the message, okay? And the same for topic B and the same for topic C. And just to give you another example, how much flexibility you have in terms of language and frameworks. You have the Python subscriber as well. Here again, just a Python file, and once again, you have a root configured for the Dapr subscribe, just returning the payload with the subscriptions. In this case, as you can see, Python is subscribing to the topic A and topic C, okay? And then you have the routes for the topic A and C to process the message once they receive the message, okay? So given that, let's just start. One sec, just preparing here. So let me just, okay, so what I have here now is I just have the terminal where I have 3 tabs, one for React, one for Node, and one for Python, okay? I'm just going to zoom in a bit more, all right? So first step, let's just run the applications. On the Node, of course, you start with an npm install command. Once you have all the package installed, then you just run the app. So you just run the command dapr run, which is using the CLI. Then you just provide an app ID for your app. And then, of course, you can provide a port. In this case, we are going to run this example in the port 3000. And then you just specify the command to run to be executed to run your app. In this case, node and then app.js, okay? You just run the commands and it pretty much says, okay, node app listening on port 3000, all good. Then pretty much the next step is running the Python application. Once again, pretty much the same thing. You just run the command to install the requirements for Python, all the package. Once you run the commands, then you just run it once again, the commands for Dapr run, okay? And then in this case, I'm not using Python 3, I'm just using Python. So I run the commands and it will confirm, okay, your application is running, okay? Next step is, of course, we need to run our React app. So once again, you go to the React form application. There is one additional command that you need to run in this React app. It's the run, the build client task configured on the npm package file. So you just run the command to build the client, because this app is composed by a server and a client. And then once again, you just run the npm install. Let's just wait a few seconds on this. Okay, all good. Then npm install. And then pretty much run, once again, dapr run, the command using the CLI. You provide an app ID, a port, and then the command to run your app, okay? So it's all good. So now if I go here to the browser, one sec, yeah, here. So if I just refresh, once again, localhost port 8080, that's the port that we are running our React app. Then you just select your message type that pretty much is mapped to the topics, and then you just specify the message. So hello roads, this message is sending to the topic A, so both subscribers are subscribing to the topic A, so that means both should receive the message. So if I just submit, if I go back to my terminal, I have the confirmation in the React that it sent the message. And then on the node, as you can see, I have here the message. And on Python, I also have the message received here. Okay, I'm just going to, yeah. So now in case I want to just send the message only for nodes, I just say hello nodes, and I select the message type B. And once again, go back to the terminal. React confirms, message sent, B, nodes received, hello nodes, and Python, as you can see, did not receive because Python is not subscribing to this, okay? So, and again, for Python, message C, hello Python, and submit. And once again, Python received, hello Python. Nodes, of course, did not receive because it's not subscribing to that topic, and message is confirmed on the React, okay? So this is a really pretty simple example, and most important is I'm giving you here an example of using Python and Node, but actually you can even use C# or any other language that you want, okay? And of course, the only thing is you need to be mindful about the type of application that you are building and the functionalities you want to build, of course. Most of the common functionalities that typically developers require to build applications are available already with the building blocks and the components. But in case you want something specific and custom, you can always build your own component and use it in your application. All right. So given that, let me just one sec. All right. So now the example is we saw how to use Dapr, right, for this example using React to manage the component to manage the pub sub, right? So now imagine that, as I mentioned, imagine that we want to actually use service bus instead of React, okay? So you just realize, okay, my application, I should use service bus because I need extra functionality that is not available in Redis cache, so I want to replace it. Okay, fair enough. So let's see how this can be done. All right, so I have here the Azure portal. This is my subscription. What I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to create a service bus namespace, and I'm going to create the topics, okay, to reflect, to map the topics that I'm using in the application. So A, B, and C. All right, so we go to the create option, and then you just search for service bus. All right, so I'm just going to provide a name for the namespace. Okay, region. You can use the closest region where you are. The pricing tier has an important detail, okay? Since we are using topics, not queues, then on service bus, then we need to use the standard pricing tier, okay? Otherwise, if you would be using queues, you could go to basic if you want to just reduce the cost of using this. All right, so the rest of the configurations, we can leave the defaults, and let's create the namespace. So this is submitting the deployments. While this is submitting the deployment, another thing that I want to show you is, let me just, here. All right, so what happens here is, I'm not sure if I'm able to, what happens here is when you install Dapr and you initialize the runtime in your local machine or in the environment that you are running Dapr, it will create this folder, all right, called .dapr under your user, and then it will create the components folder. And this will include by default two components, which is this pub sub and the state store. All right, let me just show you quickly. So on the pub sub, again, you have the specification using YAML files, and pretty much you have here a pub sub. In this case, it's using the type Redis, and also you have a state store that in this case it's also using Redis. Okay, so in order to implement our example, we, apart from creating the service bus namespace, we actually need as well to pull the components responsible to use service bus. Okay, so how you can do that? Let's just see our resource is already available. So let's just create here the topics. I'm just going to create a topic called A. Okay, now I'm going to create a topic B to just map. This is sample names. You could name it whatever you want, as long as, of course, the configuration in your environment reflects what you are using. Okay, so in this case, we are using message type A, B, and C. So that's what we are going to do. All right, so once again, I have my topics, right? So now I need to pull the components. So what I'm going to do is, actually, I can pull from here. So dapr.io, I go here, I go to the documentation. Then I have here the reference component specs. And then I have here pub/sub brokers. And in this case, you can, in here, just quickly, I'm speeding up a bit because of the time limit, but here you have all the specs of the different components you have available. And in this case, I'm going to the pub/sub brokers because that's our example. And I'm going to just search for service bus. Okay, you have here the service bus and you have here the specification for the components. So what I'm going to do, copy paste. Okay, pretty simple. I'm just going to create here a file. Let me just, service bus.yaml. Okay. And pretty much I'm going to replace here the connection string. All right. So going back to our example here, one sec, shared access policies. You have a policy already by default created. You just copy the connection string. You replace this value with the connection string. And it should be all good. Okay. So now if I just save these components, what I need to do as well is now the only thing I need to do, because of the example, the way it's implemented, I need to use these pub/sub components. Okay. So I need to specify in my applications explicitly which component I want to use. So going back to the pub/sub app, I go to the nodes. In here, I just go here, and as you can see on the subscribe, I have a pub/sub name. In the pub/sub, you just put service bus pub/sub, service bus pub/sub, and the node is fine. Now the Python, again, same thing. We just replace the name of the pub/sub component to be used. Okay. And it's all good. And now, of course, I need to also change my React form app because this app is posting as well message. So I go to the server, and in the server, you have here pub/sub name. You just replace for this. Okay. So once you do this, then we go back to the terminal. Let's just clear out this. Okay. So React form, we are just going to run again the build client. So I have 5 minutes as far as I know. Is that correct, Ark?
Exactly. We are running up. The time is running up fast. You have.
Yeah, 5 minutes, right?
No, no. 5 minutes was 5 minutes ago. So we are now going to the end of the presentation. You have the 1:25, the end of the presentation. So the last minute of it.
All right. So let me just try to then show quickly here. All right, so nodes again run the application, and in this case Python again run the Python application. In this case, one sec, I just need to change this from Python 3 to Python. All right, once again it's all running, all good. So I'm going back to the portal, and I'm going back to the React app, and hopefully this will work because we are running too fast. So hello roads, again, topic message type A to send to everyone, and hopefully it received. And as you can see, node received and Python received. Okay, message B, just to show you quickly, hello nodes. And as you can see, without any code changes on reconfiguration, we were able to just replace Redis cache for service bus. And as you can see here, we have hello nodes. Okay, so quickly, just to show you, to confirm what I'm saying, if you go back to your service bus namespace, you can see here already the request being done. And also you can see here, not queues, but topics. You can see here the subscription count. So two apps subscribing to topic A, one app to B, and one to C. And when you go to the topic, you also have metrics. Sometimes these metrics takes a few minutes, but you have metrics as well about the message sent. And that's pretty much me. So I don't know if there are any questions.
There are
available.
no questions right now, but as you assumed, we have run out of time. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
I hope if anyone wants to know something more, he will look through the resources that you have shown, and it will help them to cope with the subject. Thank you very much once again, Hugo.
Thank you so much. If you want quick 30 seconds, if you want to use the resource, you can use the resource here in this screen. And also, if you want to connect, feel free to connect with me, hugobarona.com. Okay, it's my personal.
That's a good idea. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you.